Hail, weary podcast traveler and well met. I see your adventure through the depths of the internet has led you here to sliding into the DMs. Now, this is not a podcast for the dirty boys, as the name implies, but rather a D&D advice and creative concepts podcast where these three nerds take your questions, suggestions, and pop culture influences to turn them into playable content, making goofs all along the way. This show is for everyone, from level 1 adventurers just stepping into the realm of D&D to the level 19 Dragon Slayer. Their aim is to help both players and DMs alike. Even Gary Gygax needed help sometimes. Just ask Dave Arneson. So step into our tavern, take off your cloak of elvenkind, and spend some time sliding into the DMs.
Roll for initiative.
Oh no, I dropped my dice. Okay, dice off the table, and hey Bruce, I got an 11.
I got a 4.
I got a 14.
Oh,
Cameron.
I like it.
Damn it.
All right, take a
Why
deep
must it
breath. Let's do
always
this.
Hyperventilating. Where's my bag?
All right, so say your name and then the podcast, like we've done this before.
Okay. My name's Cameron, also known as Porter's Noodles, and welcome to Sliding into the DMs.
And I am Trevor.
Also,
and
known
this
as
is
the
Bruce.
Continuity conductor. And I'm Bruce.
I'm dropping that name. I'm gonna come up with a
are
different
you?
one. Yeah.
Was it because the last episode was called Bad Conductor? I'm Bruce, by the way. I'm still the mad scientist.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I don't conduct the continuity as well anymore. Without Nick here, there's not as much to keep on the rails. You know, we don't go sideways. I tend to go sideways now more when Nick is not here. Yeah. So
it's the preacher's daughter syndrome. You had to be so structured for so long. Now you just go all kinds of crazy.
Yeah. So, you know, I can't be the continuity conductor anymore because I'm usually the one that's taking us off the rails now. So we're gonna come up with a new name. I'm not sure what it is yet, but we'll figure it out.
Okay. It's Trevor, the guy with the funny mustache.
Yeah.
All right, Cameron, you rolled highest. You get to choose what we talk about first. You got anything on your mind? Anything for D&D?
So, let's talk about the pizza coin for a moment.
Is it a coin you can eat? Because I am in. I'm into that kind of currency. Like, I don't have enough money to buy food, but my money is food. So I am good.
Let me actually find the TikTok page associated with said coin of pizza.
All right, now we're going live to our TikTok correspondent, where he's going to talk to us a little bit about the pizza coin. Hey, Cameron, how are you doing out there in the field?
We're doing great out here. Thanks for asking, Bruce. So we're talking about Shire Post Mint. They do coins and various things on TikTok. They have moon-shaped coins, different kinds of coins, but this coin is particularly special to me. It's called a pizza coin. It's a coin that is made of, I believe it's copper. And you can buy it in either a singular slice of copper, one whole pizza in copper. You can buy a burnt whole pizza, or you can buy the sectioned 8 piece of pizza, which is particularly special. I will
Did
show
you say?
you
Did you say section 8?
I was just going to say
section 8. Yes,
we're in California. That's a real thing here.
Yeah,
it's 8 sections of pizza.
Oh, okay. It's not a section. It's not a really cheap coin.
That's not in terrible shape by the end of your use of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness,
We should probably restart again, guys, because that seemed really mean.
No,
nothing against people.
It's fine.
Yeah.
We'll just cut that out.
Okay.
We'll just cut all that out. So you see it?
It's really good. Can I say, Cameron, our TikTok correspondent, it's really good that this is a very visual segment you're trying to do here. And I do have to say I love it for our audio content podcast.
This is for you two. This is specifically for you two. So it's
all right, I'll stop giving you shit then.
That you can break into pieces. So it's 8 pieces, 8 slices.
But it's a coin.
Into one piece. But it's a coin, yeah. So you can chip it apart, and you could be like, oh, hey, buddy, like, here, let me break apart my pizza coin, and here's a slice for you. And they'll look at you like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I don't want this. This is a useless piece of copper that looks like a piece of pizza. And you could just waddle off all crazy like, and that would be the end of the whole transaction. But Trevor and I were talking about, I was talking about pizza coin because I was very excited, as I am right now.
Yes.
And he brought up that we could use that for D&D, and it was more his idea that was to like perhaps use it as like a special or like a charge for spells or some sort where you could give a character some sort of an ability or spell that is above their specific level or ranking, and it would just be super OP, but you only have so many charges that you could use this spell through the whole campaign. So you have to pick very wisely of when you want to try and use this spell, but you still also have to roll, so it's like a double gamble. You're choosing to use one of your specials, and you're also having to roll to see if you're going to get that special.
Yeah.
I think it's quite an interesting idea. Trevor, take it away.
Just add like different special D&D items that this is not super uncommon with is having an item that contains a spell, but it only has so many charges to use. This is pretty common with a lot of homebrew items that Bruce makes a lot of times.
Yes, I am charge happy all the time.
He is very charge happy. So that's why it instantly came to my mind is they have this coin, but it just gives it more visual like effect in your mind that this coin breaks apart.
Yeah,
so
it literally gives it a physical look to it, because you're not only just like, oh, I activate this charge, like, nah, I break off this whole ass slice and I have to use it as a component for this spell.
So I'm thinking, because it's a pizza coin, what if they have to, like, in order for this spell to enter their body and then be able to use it, they actually have to break off the piece of copper and swallow it.
Ooh. That sounds like it's going to hurt later, but I do like the idea of it being a consumable.
Wait, are you talking about making somebody do it live? Like actually buy pizza coins for all your campaign players and being like, okay, now you got to break off a piece and eat it.
Eat it, coward, you won't.
No, character in game, right? Character in game. In order to possess this spell, they have to break off a piece of this coin and eat it. And then once that slice enters their mouth, then the spell that this coin contains.
Now, what if they just eat
charges their body with this spell? What?
What if they eat just the tip? No, it's just like the tip of it. Just the tip of the
like lembas bread.
Well, I don't think they'd really be able to bite it since it's a solid coin, so they're gonna have to take the whole ass slice.
Well, then how'd they break it?
It was already scored.
Yeah, I just wanted to see the terror on his face and trying to explain.
Trying to explain without visual aids right now.
Yeah, spur the moment, explain how the fuck this works.
AIDS isn't usually visual. Usually it's inside of you.
What?
What?
I walked into that at a weird moment, and I'm on this podcast.
Welcome to the podcast.
So what spell were you thinking when you were thinking of this? It's a consumable magic item that has charges that are one-time use charges.
Yeah. So I think that's up to the DM. It's going to be like, I think this is kind of a base unit thing, and then whoever artificed it can artifice whatever spell they want into that coin.
Okay. So it's kind of like the first campaign I DM'd for you guys. I called it Blue Holt. You guys always call it Goblin Wood because there was a place on the map called Goblin Wood.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if you remember many details from that, but there was a special stone. Stopping.
There was a Goblin Wood when the campaign started.
Hard emphasis on was.
Yeah, there was no longer a Goblin Wood by the time the campaign was done. Yeah. But continue.
It was goblin charcoal. Yeah. Which, a booming industry. You can sell charcoal like no other. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
But
you burned down goblin wood? You animals.
No, they were like, oh, we'll have a distraction. It'll make us easier to sneak around on this side. Okay, what's your distraction? I'm gonna set that whole ass tree on fire in the middle of this goddamn forest. Yeah, that'll distract them. If I had to put a number on how distracting that would be, it'd probably be like a pretty good one, you know.
Probably pretty good.
So that island, I built it off of the idea that they have this rare stone and it glows blue at night. And because of its weird, unique properties and where they are on the ley lines of the different magical planes, these stones have magical properties to where they can hold and store magic.
Okay.
So I was going to use that as you guys, you're going to head into situations where you're not going to have enough spells to deal with that. So if you find this stone and look at it and mess around with it in one of your long rests, then you'd be able to figure out, oh, hey, it holds a charge. So I can dump a spell into this before we take our long rest and then get my spells back the next day and then have this stone that has a spell in it already. So it's something like that where this is just a base model. This is just a unit. Like, it has charges or it has certain many uses of this spell that you can put into it, but it's not inherently has a spell on it already.
Yeah. But so I think it's going to be a base thing that they could either like find at a shop or something like that. But I don't think it's a charge that they drop into it. I think it's
no. Each slice is technically a charge.
Yeah, each slice is a charge, but I don't think it's a spell that they're putting into the coin. I think it's the artificer when he like creates the coin, when he smelts it, then that's the spell he imbues into the coin. So when they buy it or come across it or however, then it has whatever the artificer picked into that coin, and then they have eight charges they can use it for.
Yeah, I could see this being a good delivery system for spells that are like non-combat spells. So you have like water breathing, or you have, gaseous form, or, some spell like that where it's not technically for combat, but if you have 8 charges of this thing, you can eat one, or you can break off all 8 pieces and hand one out to each of your party members and be like, okay, we need to get from here to there. So everyone pop your gaseous form pizza and we'll go. Or we need to go down to this cave way down deep underwater. Everyone pop your pizza of water breathing and we'll all be able to have water breathing for the next hour.
Yes. Or it's a fireball pizza and you can cast fireball once you consume it.
That is a fucking hot pizza. I am just saying, my guy. That's 8 fireballs. So how many times a day can you use this? Can you just fucking can you just eat the whole ass pizza? And then now you have fucking 8 fireballs on the ready, like off the dome?
Yep.
God damn. Oh, here comes the big boss. Your campaign has been going for 3 years. You finally enter the final chamber with the final boss. And he laughs as you enter. You'll never be able to defeat me. And you say, hold on, real quick, before we enter combat, can I interact with that object? And the DM's like, yeah, sure, that's fine. And you're like, okay, I'm going to take my fireball pizza and just eat the whole thing and then just point at him and shoot 5 or 8 fireballs at him.
No, you can't. Eating the whole thing at once doesn't give you 8 charges. You have to break it off and eat each individual slice. So I think it'd be each turn you could, as a bonus action, you could break it off to eat 1 slice. So then you're using your bonus action to break off a slice and pop this thing in your mouth. And then, yes, you have 8 fireball charges. If you decided, hey, I'm going to save this coin up until the final boss 3 years from now, that's just good planning on your campaigning part. You can't be mad at that.
So is there a time limit once it's broken off of the main piece? Is there like a time limit on how long you have to use this thing? So like if you break a slice off and hand it to a friend, does it dissipate after 24 hours? Or is it like, I popped off this slice and it's only hot right now, and that's the only time pizza's good, is when it's hot. So you have to eat it right now. You can't reheat this bitch tomorrow or eat it cold.
First off, cold pizza is not bad. Reheated pizza is pretty good. And also, I don't know, Bruce, why don't you go break a penny in half and tell me if it dissolves in the next 24 hours?
I'm just saying, as a magic item, some of these magic items have a time limit on when you can use them. Okay?
No, that's why
it's not a ridiculous question or thought stream.
I think we're already limiting it with the charges. I don't think we need to limit it further.
How are you limiting 8 fireball spells? How is that limiting it, Mr. Guy? Oh, hey, my next turn, I'm going to use a bonus action to break off a slice of fireball, and then I'm going to use my action to cast fireball.
That's the DM's fault for putting a fireball coin in the fucking game. If he wants to give that high level of a spell, that's up to him. That's what I'm saying. It's not
even a high level of spell. It's just a really good spell.
Okay, well, that's what I'm saying. It's his fault. It's up to DM discretion what spell is on that coin. So it could be Misty Step. It could be Mold Earth. It could be
Mold Earth. A cantrip on a pizza slice. Come on, guy.
Well, if they're not the right class, they're not going to have that ability, are they? If they're a fighter,
you're right.
They don't.
You're right.
They don't have mold earth now. Boom! They pop a spear slice. They eat it. They have mold earth. Or ice knife. Maybe it's ice knife. It doesn't have to be a super high level spell. I love ice knife. By the way, it's like my favorite spell. Cameron, ice knife is the best. It's a low level spell, but it's great.
Okay, so I do like what you're saying, though. I do like the idea of having a magic item that has a finite ability to it, and I do also like the consumable aspect of it, where it does have to be consumed to activate and use this item.
What do you think about it being a bonus action to break off a piece and consume it?
That's fine, because most of the things you're going to do with it is going to cost an action, or if it does cost a bonus action, you can probably talk your DM to saying, hey, I use my bonus action to break off a slice, and I want to burn my action to do the bonus action effect of this.
Yeah.
So
bonus action was always like a smaller amount of
things, so if you're going to burn
usually
your full action to do a bonus action effect, then I think that's fine. I don't mind that.
That's that whole time frame thing we talked about before, where a bonus action is a small portion of your time, where the action is a large section. So if
you can call them
casting a
slices.
Spell,
you're not going to confuse people. Yeah. I'm going to use my bonus slice to eat this slice, and then use my action slice to activate the slice's ability, and it's going to be super slice is the spell that's on it. So I don't know if that's confusing, or if are you tracking? Are you tracking? Does that make sense?
Yep, I got it.
Yep, that math checks out. Good job. A+.
Yeah, the math. I did some math in my head, but the problem is I didn't show my work on the paper, so my teacher gave me an F. So
well, there's your problem.
Now the spell doesn't work.
Yes. Okay, so bouncing off of that idea, thank you, Cameron.
Cameron.
even though Trevor did most of the talking there.
As I said, it was mostly his idea.
I took it over. I'm sorry.
I told you to take it over.
So, can I talk to you guys about a creature that...
Nope.
I want... No, it's not going to be Bruce's creature creation corner, trust me. It's going to be Bruce admires a creature from his creature creation corner.
I was just giving you a hard time. I want to hear about your creature.
Okay, so I was watching a series on YouTube called Well, Actually, and it's a game show that College Humor does where they have 3 contestants sitting there, and they're supposedly experts or they're just big fans of their fields of interest. And the game is I forget his name. I think they call him Trap. I think his name is Mike Trap something, but they call him Trap, and he's the host, and he reads a false statement about some kind of fandom. Like he says, Avatar The Last Airbender was a great show because, Aang was a 12-year-old kid who was the Avatar and did this, that, and the other. But technically he's 112 because he was frozen in the iceberg and all that stuff. So that's when you would jump in and say, well, actually, he's 112 years old because he was frozen in the iceberg, whatever. But it's just basically stuff like that. Sometimes it's really minute little bullshit-ass details, and sometimes it's like really big mistakes. But the reason I bring that up is because I was watching an episode, and they brought up a creature from World of Warcraft. And they were talking about an interesting aspect of this creature and trying to have them correct what was wrong. And this creature, I think we can take and put into D&D, if it's not already, and create a mini game, like an encounter for our games that would also have over-the-table application. So, this critter is called a Wolpertinger, and it is basically a jackalope, so it's a rabbit with antlers, and it has the wings of a hawk and the fangs of something. I don't know. It doesn't really say. But, well, let me see. Let me read you it. A Wolpertinger is a small hair-like critter that has the head, body, and feet and tail of a hare with bird wings, antlers, and fangs. One must be drunk in order to see them.
Yes.
They are attracted to the scents of a brewfest. A drink hunter can track them by using beast tracking. They are free roaming, and they're called wild Wolpertingers if they are free roaming. They can be a non-combat pet, but they're mostly invisible until you are drunk. And so my thought was, how fun would it be if you combine a drinking game in-game with a drinking game above the table, and like combine the two aspects and then have their success based on how well they do in the drinking game above the table.
I love this.
Doesn't that sound so fun?
It
I'm
does.
scared of this.
And then it gets even more fun because then you're in multiple aspects. One, your character is drunk in game, which means he has disadvantage on rolls, and funny shit can happen as he's trying to chase down this creature that he can now see, because they're going to realize that they can only see these creatures when they're drunk, so the party has to go get drunk just so they can go hunt them. And then, on top of that, the players who are playing the drunk characters are drunk.
Yeah.
So do stupid shit.
So my thought is you have them in-game, come into a town, and the guy's like, you know what, we have an infestation of Wolpertingers, and we need to get rid of them. And the party is brought in with the promise of, like, you know, high payout. Like, hey, you guys can make a lot of money by helping us bring in these creatures. And, you know, you bring a dead body, you get 2 gold pieces, which is a lot. And we have an infestation of them, so there's a lot of them. So there's a potential here for a lot of coin. And so what you do is you tell them, well, like, okay, well, where are these creatures? They're like, well, you can't see them unless you're hammered. And so you have them start to drink in-game, and you kind of describe around them that the bar is just kind of getting rowdy now. There's people chasing invisible things around the thing, tipping over tables and smashing into each other and all this stuff, and it's just like mayhem. And then you have them, like 3 drinks in, have them roll a constitution save. And if they fail to save, well, then they're getting a little bit more drunk in-game. And also, if they fail to save, then they have to drink in real life. And so they take a huge swig of whatever, and then...
Take a shot.
Yeah, take a shot. And then you have them, like, once they get to the 5 drink or 5 constitution fail, then now they're drunk in-game and they can see these things. And so now they're making their decisions above the table as drunk. And, like, oh, you see this antlered bunny thing sitting on the bar right in front of you. You didn't realize it was there. It was invisible until just this moment. And you realize that you're drunk now and you can see them. So, you know, roll for initiative, and now we're going to have you guys go after these creatures and stuff. And I just think it was so fun. It's such a fun idea that I think you could probably do beer pong too. Like, judge how well they catch these things by how many cups they make. And then you as a DM are just sitting there describing kind of like the scene. And then, you know, they all have a turn where they shoot the ball, and if they miss, well, then they have to take a drink because they're apparently not drunk enough. And then, you know, like, I just think it'd be fun to combine the two. And my question to you guys is, can you think of any other ways to combine a drinking game with catching these little guys? Like maybe Flip Cup or something?
I mean, you can really go with any of the classic drinking games. Flip Cup, Roll Cage.
What is
High,
Roll
Low,
Cage?
Red, Black. God, it's way too complicated to try to explain or even really remember, because every time I've played it, I've been wasted.
Okay, so
King's
roll
Cup.
Constitution save.
So I think this would be a wisdom check, and I would fail it right now.
Got it.
Yeah, it has dice and cards at the same time. I want to say, God, it's been way too long since I played it. But
Well, now it's not
anyways,
interesting, and I don't want to hear any more about it. Moving on.
Yeah, we're moving on past that one.
Okay. All
Let
right.
that one go.
Good.
King's Cup.
Now, how would you incorporate King's Cup into a Wolpertinger chase?
Well,
That's what I thought. Moving on.
no, you can't. Well, why can't your players be playing King's Cup? And okay, so if they pull a king, then they slam. In game, they would slam their drink. If in real life they're pouring their drink into the King Cup, and then you can have different little cards mean different things, because a lot of the King's Cup rules are kind of just house rules. So you can make up a lot of different shit to like mean different things in the game.
Okay.
You pull a jack. A drunk guy runs into you and spills his drink all over you.
I think the more basic the rule is, the easier it'll be to incorporate, because you're going to also be playing another game system over the top of this. Yes. So I think doing like a flip cup.
You only have one chance to flip the cup, and if you fuck it up, you're next.
See, I was thinking like for each bunny thing you're chasing, you roll a con check. If you pass, then you get to flip the cup without having to drink. If you fail, then you have to drink and then try and flip the cup. And then if you flip the cup and it lands, then you have caught one.
Okay.
And then you move on to the next one. Idea. And then that way it's pretty straightforward, so the mechanics are pretty easy. And then it's also quick, it's high paced, because then you have each one of your characters, rolling a con save each time of like, okay, well, I'm going to slam this drink. And then it also goes into the whole, well, if your party has coin, they're paying, 2 silver per drink, and they're slamming these drinks. And if they're not getting drunk fast enough, or they're doing really well, they're holding their con saves or whatever it is, then, they're just throwing silver at this dude, and he's making a shit ton of money, and you haven't caught one yet to recuperate your costs, and it's like, it's 1 gold per, bunny, and you're spending 2 silver per drink. Well, it takes you 5 drinks, whatever algebra goes in there for how much you're making over how much you're losing. And then it's just kind of like a fun over-the-table game, too, where you're flipping the cup, and, if you flip the cup, then you catch it. If not, then you have to try again on the next roll. Mm-hmm. I think it could be really fun. Well, I'll talk to our stat puncher off the podcast and have him write up some. I think we're going to use Flip Cup.
Okay.
And then I'll have him write up some stats for it, and then maybe we'll post that on TikTok and then on the Facebook page. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
And then we will play test it next time we get together.
Okay.
Maybe we'll play test it on a podcast.
Yes, I like this. I like this idea.
Okay. So now we got the fun stuff out of the way. Let's answer a question.
Wait. Your thought here brought me to another thought. So your idea of this mutated creature made me think of this book I'm reading right now. It's called Amazonia.
Okay.
It is written by the same author that wrote Indiana Jones.
Oh, okay.
His name is James Rollins. So, James Rollins' Amazonia is what I'm reading right now. And the whole premise of this book is there's this guy who his parents were both, they started a pharmaceutical company, and their idea was to get the shamanistic medical knowledge from these tribes in the Amazon and basically westernize those and start selling them. So he spent like his whole childhood in the Amazon with his parents traveling around, and then his mom died in the Amazon, and then years later his dad goes missing and kind of never comes back. Years after his dad's disappearance, one of the members of his dad's like party that was out with him shows back up in this town, and he was a war vet, and when he had gone out he had only one arm because he had lost one arm in the war. He comes back and he has 2 arms.
Oh shit.
So
that's not how that works. That math doesn't check out.
Yeah, that math doesn't check out.
One arm plus Amazon does not equal 2 arms.
Exactly. So basically they go back to the son of the guy that disappeared and like, hey, you have been searching for your dad in the Amazon for like 4 years now. Well, this guy showed up. And so that kind of gives us hope that maybe your dad's still out there. And also they may have found some crazy ass shit because this guy's arm grew back.
Huh.
So they're trying to retrace this guy's steps because basically as soon as he made it out of the Amazon, he died. And it's like a bunch of Navy SEALs, or no, Army Rangers. A bunch of Army Rangers with them, and then scientists, and they're all trying to retrace the steps to find whatever medicine this guy had found.
Interesting.
But the deeper they get into the Amazon, they start running into these mutated creatures.
Ooh.
Like one of them is like this weird piranha,
squirrel,
toad, poison, dart frog, tadpole mix.
Jesus Christ.
It's crazy.
And he's also got a chainsaw for an arm, and he's got a machine gun for his other arm.
No. So, like, they said, they're standing by the river, and they just see, the water start to froth, and, like, these dolphins.
Then a chainsaw comes up, and then they're like, whoa, there's a chainsaw in the water! And then they start hearing machine gun fire.
No chainsaws. But, so they start, like, so cool. The water's frothing, and they're like, what the heck, what is this? And, like, the one guy, the guy that had been, in the Amazon for years looking for his dad, is like, oh, it's a piranha frenzy. And then this dolphin flops up on the shore, then he's all, like, half eaten.
It's like, whoa, guys, don't go in the water. It's fucked up in there.
It's like,
I'm a dolphin.
It's like, oh, yeah, piranhas. But then one of these things jumps out of the water and latches onto the dolphin, and he's like, oh, shit, that's not a piranha.
He's like, hold on, they shouldn't be able to do that. I mean, I've been here for a long time, and that's a bad piranha.
That's a bad. So they, like, take off running, and these...
That's what we call a no piranha.
These toads start chasing them. They have, like, it bites one of them. It creates, like, they have, from the poison dart frog genetics, they have, like, poison on their teeth. So if they bite you, you go into, like, convulsions and seizures.
Holy fuck.
All this crazy stuff.
Apex Predator. Fuck a brawl.
Basically.
I don't want to fuck with this thing.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I just think the whole time I'm reading it, I'm like, this could be a great campaign. Like,
yeah, it sounds fucking rad as shit. I want to play it. You DM it, I'll play it.
All right. So yeah, basically, we're gonna have a party going through the rainforest looking for a certain something, and just keep. The further they get into the campaign, the crazier shit they're gonna run into.
I love it. I absolutely love it. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of there's an anime that was very short-lived. It was called Parasite. And there's these spores that were released into the air, and if they land on a host, it gives it the perfect environment to germinate. And then it germinates, and it turns into this parasitic creature with super high intelligence. And wherever it lands, it tries to land on the head, because if it can consume the head, then it takes over the host. Well, if it doesn't, then it has to try and replace that limb and then work its way to the head. So in this anime, the main character, his hand has this spore on it. And overnight, he wakes up in the middle of the night to this parasite eating his hand and his arm. And he, like, freaks out, and he tries to stab it with scissors. Well, this parasite has, like, a self-preservation kind of aspect to it, and so he goes to try and stab it with the scissors, and it protects itself. It slices the scissors up with this crazy sharp blade, and then then he passes out just from shock. The next day he wakes up and his hand is fine. He's like, oh, it's just a nightmare. Well, then he's walking to school, and this little girl is walking in the crosswalk, and a guy in a car isn't paying attention and almost slams into her, and so his knee-jerk reaction is just reach his hand out and try and grab the girl, but he blinks in that classic anime style. Like, as he blinks in slow motion to grab the girl, he comes to opening his eyes, and he has his hand out in front of the car, and the car stops dead. Like, smashes, like, stopped, done, not moving anymore at all. It's broken now. You killed everyone in the car, but the girl's safe. And he kind of gains this symbiotic relationship with his parasite, and they are now working together to protect humans and stuff like that, while this thing is trying to get stronger.
It sounds a lot like Venom.
Kind of, but it replaces his whole limb. Like, if the parasite decides to leave his body, he has no arm.
Oh, okay.
But when the parasite is on his body, it works as his arm. He can feel through it and everything else, because it's attached to all his neurons and his nerve endings and stuff like that. But it's not attached to his brain, so it doesn't have full control over him. It just has partial control.
Gotcha. And
it can kind of control that hand. But it made me think of, that'd be a really cool kind of like living armor, because your AC would go up and it would have a kind of like a weaponized effect to it. But creating a creature that would be parasitic like that, like, maybe in the game you do, I think they call them altered criticals. So, like, if you guys are in a fight with a big bad boss and he rolls a nat 20, it doesn't just double his damage, it has a lasting effect rather than just oh, he gets extra damage on you. Because he rolled a nat 20, he's going to have a lasting effect that's going to apply to you. And there's nothing you can do to change it because he rolled a nat 20, so fuck off. And the lasting effect can be, mortally wounded, where it's a wound that you have to take care of outside of combat as well. Or it's like you lose a limb or something like that. And then, if you do lose a limb and you go and try and get some kind of care for it, like maybe you don't have a good healer in your group, so you have to go to like some kind of shaman or druid or, medical based, like maybe like a paladin or a cleric or whatever it is. And you go find this person, you seek them out. Well, one of the cures they can give you, like if it's a druid, be like, well, there's a special plant that's supposed to stop bleeding and it's supposed to help repair lost limbs and stuff like that. And, that's as far as they know. But if your player decides to do that, well, then you give them this parasite that regrows their limb and gives them a couple different benefits. But the downside is that if you don't feed it within a couple days or you don't do a certain task in a couple days at a time, then it starts to revolt and try and take over your body.
So you lose HP?
I thought that would be really cool. And that's what that sounded like when you said that guy went into the Amazon with one arm because he lost it in the war and then comes back with two arms. I was like, oh shit, it's a parasite. I love it. I'm into it.
It's a parasite.
Yeah. That anime is amazing too. I think...
One thing I always thought about Parasite is if the parasite decides to jack off its host, like, does he still feel it? Like, as if he's jerking himself off, or is it the
This is important. Hold on. Stop the podcast.
Awesome. All right.
Fucking
so
nerd.
let's jump off this train and get to a forum question, shall we?
Bring it back.
Yeah. Let's church this place up a little bit.
Before we get too sideways here. So... this is a question from the D&D Beyond forum. D&D Beyond!
Your turn, Cameron.
Yeah, come on, Cameron.
D&D Beyond.
Yeah, sexy. So I have my feelings about this question. I want to get your feelings. I will also tell you what I think about it.
I'll give you all my feelings.
Okay, so the topic of this forum post is, should I leave this campaign?
Yes.
This is by... Bree High Hill. Bree High Hill says, at my school, there is a D&D club. First off, I just want to say, that's a cool school.
Badass high school.
My high school didn't have a freaking D&D club.
No.
That'd be dope.
Ah, God.
D&D's making a comeback, like a huge comeback, and I love it.
I know.
Yes. Okay, anyways. All right. At my school, there's a D&D club. It started out really fun, but then our first DM left, so we had to quickly make a new campaign and get a new DM.
Where'd they go? Does it explain where they went?
No.
Oh, man.
Really quickly, 2 or 3 people left the new campaign, and a lot of us are considering leaving. I don't know if I should leave the campaign. On one hand, it is one of the few social interactions I have been having with people my age lately. On the other hand, the campaign just isn't as fun as it was before our first DM left. I feel like I should leave, but there are 2 things stopping me from leaving. The first thing, I feel like I am one of the only things keeping this campaign together. Oftentimes, I am the person who gets us focused about the campaign, and a lot of times, I'm the only reason we even meet for the club. The second is...
I'm the DM. Oh.
Yes. No. The second thing is I haven't told my family and I'm not having as much fun anymore. As much as they try to make me feel like everything is not stressful at home, it feels like every day there is something stressful that happens. I don't say anything about the campaign become less fun because I don't want to add to that. If I tell them about the 3 weeks after this first started happening, I don't know how they'll react to me not telling them before. I don't know if I should leave this campaign or wait until the end of the school year, which is relatively soon. Thanks to anyone who responds to this.
Damn.
That whole question made me very sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
So I have feelings, like you said. I have feelings and I have comments about this, but I think I want to hear what Cameron has to say first. Like, what hit you first about it?
Well, the fact that, this person's looking for a place to fit in, and it has almost nothing to do with D&D. It does and doesn't. It's the fact that this game essentially brought this person a meaning, a purpose, a group of friends.
It's like the vehicle, yeah. It's not the main part, it's the vehicle.
And then everybody just started jumping ship, and now they feel like they're alone in this ship, trying to be the glue that keeps it from completely falling apart. and they're struggling, and it seems like they have something going on at home that possibly causes them to want to be a part of something and escape. Exactly. And they're losing that ability to escape, and now they're stuck in the real existence of what is life, which is a thing you have to always deal with, and you can't just escape from it continuously. It's coping skills, but I mean, D&D is a great coping skill, or coping mechanism. It's better than most coping mechanisms you could choose. I would know about this. Alcoholism. Anyways.
But that's for a different podcast.
So yeah, that's what hit me the most is being a nerd and knowing that I was kind of a weird kid and having to, like, be weird and act out and try to make friends by being weird and funny.
Find those groups that you fit into, yeah.
Yeah, it hit me at home being a weirdo.
So my feeling about this is if you're not having fun, if it feels like a chore, if it feels like a job, that you're trying to keep this group together and that you feel like you're the linchpin, like if you pull out, it's just going to fall apart and it's not going to be a thing anymore. It's not fun for you anymore. But that's not really constructive. That's not something you can take away and be like, oh, well, it's not fun for me anymore, so I'm going to leave. That's not solving your problem of still wanting to have a group that you can go to, or having something that you can go do that's for you, that makes you feel good, that you have fun at, that helps you escape from whatever challenges there are. So my constructive part of this is, if it's not as fun as it once was, and you want to kind of jump back into those times of having it be fun, it can be scary, but look into DMing. Look into being the DM and creating those fun interactions. Yes, it's fun to be a player and go through those things and try and, problem solve and get your way out and all that stuff. And, try and solve these puzzles that aren't always puzzles. Those can be really fun, but there's also something rewarding about being the DM in that situation and creating those problems for your players to attack and try and solve, and see what creative ways they go about it, and, challenge your players and see if they come out on top, or if they, have to roll a new character, those can be really rewarding. I mean, that's what happened with us. Like, that's the whole reason I started DMing, was because I wanted to play so bad, but the DM that we had at the time couldn't make time for us. And so it was really hard for us to get everyone together and this DM together to play. So I started doing the research because I wanted to play so bad. I was like, damn it, I just want to be around it at this point. Like, I just want to give this Bruce, a fair shot.
Do you think Garrett ever just listens to this podcast and is like, fuck you guys?
I don't know, because we shit talk him quite a bit, and I don't mean anything bad by it. He just had so many things going on. It's just like he couldn't, I thought about that earlier today.
It's not his fault. We don't mean to shit talk him, but I'm just like,
yeah. He's a great guy. He's a writer. He is going back to school to get his master's. He is DMing like 9 other games. He also has a family and a life and a job. And he was driving up from a town that is literally an hour away from where we were, and he was doing it on a weekend or on a late night day where he would just come and do this for us. And he was totally fine doing it, and he never asked for gas money or like anything. He was just like, yeah, if you guys want to do it, let's do it. He just didn't
So he was coming just for you?
Yeah. He just didn't have the time to come for us all the time. And so...
Okay, so... I'm sorry to sidetrack you again.
No, it's okay. But, DMing might be daunting. It might be a scary idea to think of like, well, I went from a player and now I have to try and create this whole world and have my players play in it. But if you're craving that kind of fun, first off, I would say be open and honest about that and let your DM know. Because if you don't tell them, then they think you're having fun. They think that you're having a good time. They're not going to change what they're doing. D&D is a collaborative storytelling event. It's something you guys do together. The story won't advance if you don't have input, or the story will advance and you just won't have any input and you won't have any fun. So talk about it. Say that. Tell your DM like, hey, look, I know you're doing what you can, and I know that we're kind of a crazy group, but this is kind of what I'm aiming to get out of this. I kind of want to do combat, and I want to do puzzle solving, and I want to do our role playing. And then they can take that and be like, okay, well, I can develop situations for that if they're a good DM. If they're a bad DM, then you just drop them and say, you know what, it's nothing against you. It's just like the game style that you do isn't the game style that we want to do. So I'm going to just, bow out and then start your own game or find another DM or do online stuff. But that's kind of my feelings about it.
you're starting to go down the path that first came to me when I read this question. The first thought I had was that you just need to realize that this isn't just, obviously from what you've said, it's not a you thing. It's not you not clicking with this DM. It seems to be everyone. So you as a group need to get together and just brainstorm and be like, hey, when we had the original DM, these were the things we liked about our game. And these are the things that are now missing from this game. And communicate that to your new DM. He's a new DM. He might be a really new DM who's never DM'd before, and he's stepped up in your group to do this for you. Or he might be a seasoned DM, but he has a different style, whatever it is.
Well, it sounds like it was rushed, too, because they said they had to abandon the game they were playing and then quickly start a new one. So it sounds like it might have been rushed.
Yeah, so really what you need to do is what we have preached in this podcast a few other times, which is have a session 0, right?
Yes.
Where you kind of all just session 0. And I know you're already several sessions in, but take a step back and have what we call a session 0, which is everyone getting together, saying what they're looking for in the game, and then try so that the DM kind of knows what you as a party are looking for and where to tailor the game towards. I feel like it's not just a problem you're going through. I think this is kind of a thing that happens in a lot of D&D games. Is the party has a different idea of what they want to play versus what the DM is constructing in his mind, and you have to get those things aligned so that everyone's having fun. So have a session 0 with the DM, sit down, say, hey, this is what we had fun with, this is what we are looking to get out of a campaign, and then you're taking something you used to have fun with and you're going to start having fun with it again, and you're going to start enjoying it, and you're going to have fun with your friends, and you're going to enjoy that social interaction that you said, this is one of your few social interactions that you get. You don't want to throw that away. So find a way to work it out where it's going to be fun for you, whether that happens by just communicating with the DM what you're looking to get out of it and having that session 0, or like Bruce was saying, if after you try that, if that doesn't work, then taking over DMing, that could be an option too.
Or suggest like one shots, like maybe not have a set campaign, maybe have a different DM each week, depending on how often this group is meeting or if this is going to be a regular thing. Like each week, you have someone pick a different one shot that's free and study it, and then the group gets together, and then that new DM DMs that week. And then that way you can get a feel for who DMs well, or what style you like, or what things you're actually looking for in a campaign. And then, next year, if you're like a freshman or a sophomore or something, and you're going to be there for a couple more years, then you have an idea of what to look for or what you kind of want to do for the next couple years if you want to come back to this. Or outside of school, if you're going to start a group, now because you've played a couple different one-shots with different themes and settings and stuff like that, and you've played with a couple different DMs, so you can kind of figure out and then have the group vote, or have them choose, like, hey, I really enjoyed DMing this steampunk murder mystery. And then everyone's like, yeah, that was really fun. And say, well, I'd love to start a campaign with you guys that's kind of set off of that. Would you guys be willing to, And I think going in and talking to your DM, the first DM or the current DM that you have, is don't go in attacking them, making sure that you're going in and saying, I feel like I thrive under these conditions, or I feel like a game style that's good for me is this, that, and the other, or whatever it is, or like, I feel what I'm looking for from D&D is this. And make sure it's not like, hey, yo, you fucking suck at this, and you're terrible at mystery, and you farted really loud during the campaign, and like it smelled really bad, dude.
It smelled real bad.
I
don't know what you ate the night before.
Your zipper was undone the whole time, and you're standing right at dick to eye level.
Ball hanging out.
Yeah, and we told you about it, and you didn't change that. Like, don't go in, like, I mean, if those are the problems, please tell them, though, those are the problems. But if it's just something like, you need a little bit more describing of the scenario or the scene, like, try and be kind about that. Like, because it sounds like it was rushed. It sounds like they're trying to do the best that they can, and maybe they think that they found a good little niche that they can do, but like, don't attack them about it, because as far as they're doing the best that they can, and so are you.
Yeah. So get with them, and then, maybe once you kind of have that session 0 and you get with that DM, and he gets on a track that is more conducive to everyone, and maybe, you know, the few people that are still there with you are having fun again, then maybe you call up those people that left and be like, hey, dude, it's fun again. We figured it out. We got this game rolling. You guys should come back. And then you regrow your group back to what it was. And then everything kind of resets, and you guys are back to having your old group back. You're all having fun together again. And it could totally just...
I think the biggest part is communication. I think that's the biggest part. Communication is major, because without it, they're just going to do what they think is going to be best. And if it doesn't work for you and you don't tell them, then they're never going to know.
One thing I did get from this person's issue that they're having, though, is they sound like they have the makings of a potentially amazing DM. If they're really trying to hold everyone structured and together, they may really enjoy doing it if they really try. But at the same time, it sounds to me like they just want it back the way that it was. However, they may have to do a little work to, like you said just now, to pull everyone back in. Find the things that intrigued and interested everyone. Pull that into one campaign, or one, even like you said, a one-shot, or just a short little thing, and get everybody back. Bring it back to the old.
Yeah,
I hope for the best for this person.
Yeah, me too. I think, Trevor, I think you should definitely comment back some of the stuff we said. It's probably way outdated and overdue, but I think it's still worth it if we have to.
Nope, this one's new. This was posted 5 days ago.
Oh my.
Shoot it out, bud.
Oh.
You want me to hit you with another question, Bruce?
Yes, sir.
All right. This one's probably going to be directed a little bit more at you, because you're going to be the one that's going to figure this scenario out.
I feel attacked.
And lay it down on the table. So this is another D&D Beyond question.
D&D Beyond!
So the topic is...
D&D Beyond.
Nice.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in so late! So topic of this one is question about Artificer. Bruce?
Let's get it. I'm already
our house Artificer.
I mean, I have my attention from my boner.
This question is by... Lord Spookage.
I'm sorry?
Lord Spookage.
Spookage, okay.
Spookage.
I thought you said skookage, and I was like, I don't know what that is, but it sounds dirty, and I'm into it.
Spookage.
Okay.
And Skeletor is his...
avatar?
Yes, his avatar. So, Lord Spookage says, I'm going to be playing a kobold artificer. Art
fisher. He just uses a fishing rod to collect art.
I am going to be playing a kobold artificer in a campaign pretty soon. And I wanted to know, if I go artillerist, does my eldritch cannon work for pack tactics?
No, because
I have my feelings
weapon.
About this. Okay, thank you. That was my feeling too.
Yeah,
okay.
No, because it's a ranged weapon, and ranged weapons don't count for pack tactics when you're not in melee combat. And in melee combat, you would have disadvantage on a ranged weapon, so no. Asked and answered. Next question.
Next question. I mean, do you want me to go to the next? I have another one, or do you want to go to something else? And then come back to a question.
We can dive into Artificer if you want, but Eldritch Cannon is a ranged weapon. It's not going to work in pack tactics.
Yeah, the idea of pack tactics is you have several things attacking.
You're acting as a pack. There's not like a wolf pack that's like, okay, 2 of my wolves are attacking. I'm gonna jump on this tree and then like throw pine cones at this thing, and it's gonna help kill it. Like, no, the wolves don't do that. Wolves are in it to fucking eat the goddamn thing, so they're all working together as a pack. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that one's asked and answered.
So this, I have one last.
I think it
question.
took longer to read the question than it did to answer it.
It did, yes. I have one last question that I prepared for tonight.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure that Bruce wrote this question.
Hold on, what's the screen name? Who asked it?
Nosta.
Oh.
Nosta.
What was that? What was that name again? I don't know that name. That name sounds totally new to me.
Okay.
Is it to say Nosta and then parentheses it says hair? Nosta hair. You got Nosta hair up there.
Got Nosta hair.
Shiny dome.
No, it's just it's Nosta.
Okay.
So this is on the Giant in the Playground forum.
Giant tee up.
And Nosta on Giant in the Playground said, I am a co-GM and I need some NPC help.
Okay.
We want to have 2 to 3 level 10 Adventuring Academy teachers. I need help figuring out class and race. We want them to have a mic. Yeah, he spelled Mike. A mic of both combat and non-combat abilities to be able to teach a wide variety of things a fresh-faced, hopeful adventurer should know. I can reread that with proper grammar if you want me
please. to. Yeah, please do.
Okay.
It's doing me a bad on understanding.
Yeah. We want to have 2 to 3 level 10 Adventuring Academy teachers. I need help figuring out class and race. We want them to have a mix of both combat and non-combat abilities to be able to teach a wide variety of things that a fresh-faced, hopeful adventurer should know.
Okay, so it's like, what are the basics of adventuring both in and out of combat? And then how can we put those into teachers to help educate our new players on how to do it? Okay.
So I said this sounds like you because you are a co-GM, and
I am.
And we have that school in our campaign where you had to come up with Ren as our teacher, and
she was the
headmistress
principal.
Of the school.
Yeah, headmistress, principal. Yeah, she was just basically like the superintendent. She wasn't really a teacher. She took you guys under her wing to teach you things faster because of the mission you guys are on.
Yes.
So
anyways, I want to throw this question at you, and you tell me some races and classes that would be conducive to making a good teacher for these students in this D&D campaign that they are going to be playing.
For like a roguish or a sneaky teacher, halflings, Lightfoot, because they have luck and because they have advantage on dexterity stuff, and then you can give them the feat of, what is that feat? Where it allows you to pass through a creature larger than you. Movement, or freedom of movement, whatever it is. And then for like your combat classes, for your damage dealers, you want a big race, like a Goliath, or you want a half-orc, or Warforged, yeah. For your intelligence classes and stuff like that, I believe a human would be fine for those, because humans and human variants get extra bonuses to, I think it's like 3 different classes, or 3 different aspects, or 3 different...
Or an elf.
Yeah, elves are normally high intelligence, but they get bonuses to certain fields that they choose, and you can just have them choose those specific ones you want them to be proficient in. What else?
What I was thinking when I heard this question was, like you're saying, you have your DPS characters. That's going to be your tanks for the most part, right? So maybe you have a Goliath fighter, or a Warforged fighter, a barbarian. Either of those would probably be
Warforged
fine.
barbarian would be unstoppable, because they already take like less damage for slashing and bludgeoning, and they regain hit points off of fire damage, so that would be incredible.
And then add that with rage and shit.
Yeah, where everything's halved already. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, okay. So ideal teachers here. Yeah, Warforged Barbarian for your DPSs.
Yeah.
Then for...
Tabaxi Rogue.
A Tabaxi Rogue would be amazing.
Or Lightfoot Halfling Rogue.
Or Lightfoot Halfling. Or even an elf or a drow rogue. Could be fun too. Those would be cool. And then maybe like a cleric. You can go human cleric. You could go... What makes a really good cleric class? Maybe just for funsies, make it like a Dragonborn cleric. Just for a little...
Well, Dragonborns with their natural armor would be really good at barbarians too.
Yeah. And then... Like you're saying, I think you need something for the magic users in your campaign. So a wizard, an
Caster
elf makes
class,
a good wizard. an elf makes a good wizard. A human makes a good wizard.
Tieflings because they have natural spells they're born with.
Yeah, make good wizards. So maybe throw one of those in there, and that can be your teachers for your school. Yeah.
A good way to figure it out is listen to the Adventure Zone graduation, because they're literally playing. They're literally playing a school where you learn magic and stuff, and he has certain builds for teachers and classes and stuff like that. And then he actually, in some of the early episodes, he goes over lessons that they're learning and stuff, and it's pretty interesting, and it makes a lot of sense. So,
yeah, it's so good. Just go over some of Travis McElroy's. So, Jackal is a Kinku rogue. That's a really good one. He is super good with that whole build. What is the fairy that teaches?
Oh, that's what's his name? He sounds like Elmo. What's his name though?
Festo.
It's Festo.
You
want to drink with Festo?
Festo. You want to have to party with Festo? So Festo he's a fairy from the woods, and he teaches magic.
But he's a crazy rage partier, and it's awesome. But he sounds like Elmo. You want to party with Festo?
Anyways, if you want to get a kind of a cool scene and some great ideas for different teachers and the way that they can interact, and for in and out of combat situations, Travis McElroy does a great job with that in the Adventure Zone graduation. Listen to the first few episodes and just listen to how he sets up those teachers and what their jobs are. It's really good.
I don't know, unfortunately, enough about classes to be able to just throw them out there on the top of my head, but as just some noob guy from the outside, if you were to do like 3 main classes, I definitely would say, like something wizardy, something fighty, and something more like ranged or like buffing, as you had mentioned.
Yeah, that's what makes most sense to me, is if you're going to cover the bulk of multiple classes with a single teacher, like that's going to be your best bet.
Like just his top 3. Do you know Dewey?
He knows Dewey. All right, well, I think we're about there at the end of our show. So I think we jump into house cleaning real quick. Or housekeeping, not house cleaning. We call it house cleaning every time.
Cleaning?
All right, so housekeeping. You can find us on all the social medias. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, soon
Pinterest.
TikTok. Yes, Pinterest.
My bio.
Soon TikTok. We have our account made. I just haven't done anything with it yet. That's my fault.
We're working on it. Okay? We have full-ass lives outside of this, too.
God, get off my back, guys.
Yeah.
Nuts.
Stop harping us over this TikTok thing.
So, we have TikTok coming. But yeah, hit us up on any of our social medias. If you want to ask us a question, we can get it on the air, and we can answer your question for you, just like we did some of these forum posts today. If you shoot us a question, we can answer that as well from the listeners. You can also, if you don't really want to get on social media, I know some people don't like social media, you can email us. It is emailthedms@gmail.com. You can hit us up there. Yeah, I know, right? God. So hit us up there, emailthedms@gmail.com. We do check that regularly as well, so if something pops through there, we can also get your question answered that way.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for if you can, we can drop this ask on you, is if you can leave a review, just let us know what you think. Let us know, like we said before, communication is key. We can't get any better if you're not communicating with us, so please let us know how we're doing, what we can do better, what you'd like to hear more of, what you'd like to hear less of, all that good stuff, and we can, we'll take that into consideration. We'll start to try and tailor our podcast to your likings and try and make it more enjoyable for everyone. So if you can drop a comment on any of the streaming services that you're hearing this on, and then we can, go from there. But thank you for listening, and thank you for sharing. If you haven't shared it yet, just send it to a buddy. Find your favorite episode and just email it to someone or post it on Facebook. Or, we share whenever an episode goes up. If you can just hit that share button for us, that's how we get our word out there. We don't promote, we don't buy ads, we don't do any of that stuff. So you guys sharing our stuff is how that's our AOE is what we call it. Is area of effect is through you guys. So
that's the bread and butter.
That's the bread and butter.
Yeah, that's the bread and butter. I think that about wraps up that stuff. So, boys, we always end with a D&D related quip or joke. So, why don't you tell me what you got? Cameron, you rolled highest, so you give us your joke first.
Why would a druid have a chicken-proof lawn?
Why?
Because it's impeccable.
Ah,
God.
Dang it.
The daddest of jokes.
The daddest.
Trevor?
Me. What happens when a dark elf casts sleep on you?
What?
You get drowsy.
Oh, man.
That's so bad it's good.
All right. So for mine, you guys know I love lore. I love building characters off of lore. And I saw this and I was like, yes absolutely. So, according to Greek mythology, Chiron was half horse, a half human, and he was a doctor. So, this made him the Centaur for disease control.
Oh my lord.
Yes.
That's a good one.
You are welcome.
That's a heavy one.
So, guess who's getting a new Centaur Cleric? It's going to be this campaign. He's a Centaur of disease control. Well,
all right.
As always, fare thee well and adventure onward. Spice. Ew, yucky!